Hello, so tonight I was going to try and do a demo video that I promised I was going to do, but didn't get home from work until quite late, so do you know what, just wasn't in the mood, so I just want to sit down, have a play, and this is what I came up with. So, slightly different to my previous videos. I've started off just concentrating on a small case here on the palette case. As you can see, I've pretty much tried to use as many modules as possible. Recently got this Rainmaker, so obviously had to use that. But that's pretty much all I'm using on here. Mostly it's just these two cases. So, I'll just go through how this patch is set up and then let it play, because I kind of tried to set it up so that it would play itself, which you can probably hear going on in the background now. So let's start at the beginning. So we've got some drums. Drums are coming from Squid Salmple through Euclidian circles. Top is bass, second is hats, and the third one is this little sample here, which I'm not sure if you can hear that, but there's a bit crushed kind of hat that's CV modulated just to give us a little bit of interest there. So that's drums. Master clock is the Westlicht performer, which is, I'm sad to say, that's pretty much all it's doing, but it's pretty much sending clock out to the top half of this mult, reset here, and then clock here and reset here, so it's dead easy to start and restop. It will set the mimetic, it will set the steppy, it will set Euclidean circles, it will set voltage block, and it was going to set the architect, but that was one step too far, so I've just ditched that. So that's the drums section. Next we've got bass. So if I just turn off the lead. Bass is BIA, always BIA. The one gate coming out of the Westlicht is triggering BIA. That's going through a filter, because BIA's, it's digital, it's quite harsh, especially as I've got the attack really low, so that's just going through a low pass filter. And where's that going? That's going into the Rainmaker, so there's just a bit of a delay on there, and then that's going out. And this, I've mentioned this several times before, but this is the ES9. Now the ES9, some people love it, some people don't. It's a pretty expensive module. It's £500, $600. But if you don't know what it is, it's basically an audio interface. And if I just switch this around here, you can see it's going out to Ableton here on my iPad, which is a pretty expensive way of turning a Push 2 into a mixer. But yeah, an iPad sat on a Push 2, and I can just use the 8 knobs at the top for my audio mixer, because I can't afford a mixer, but I can afford Ableton and a Push. I'm not sure how that works. So that's the bass line, that's the drums, and then everything down here is the lead. So all I've got here is a chainsaw, and the chainsaw is just coming out in mono. So everything you hear here it's a chainsaw, and this is why I love the chainsaw. It's tiny, it needs a lot of modulation, but it sounds so good. It's not cheap. HP for price, not good value for money, but the sound that it makes, very good value. So what have we got going on here then? We have a lot of modulation, but it's quite similar to things that I've previously set up. So chainsaw goes through javelin, javelin goes through carbon filter, and the difference we got here is I put the Mimeophon in here, so that's my delay and reverb. Now the way I like to have this set up is turn the colour right down, and then so the colour is the filter, so you're sending your sound source into the delay and reverb, which has, I've got a bit of a delay on here, not too much, but a lot of reverb and a low level of colour, so that kind of creates a low pass drone. When you look at the mix, it's about up at 2/3, so you've got about 2/3 low pass drone and only 1/3 of the sound source coming through. I just think that gives you a nice balance, because if I turn the mix right down, so that's the dry signal. That's chainsaw going through a low pass filter. And then I'm modulating the envelope as well, so the envelope is actually doing this. And if we turn the mix up with the colour down low, you just get this nice low end. I like it. So what else have we got going on here? We have Divkid Ochd, a lot of LFOs modulating things. So the slowest LFO is modulating our filter cutoff. So if I just leave that, you can hear that LFO slowly bringing in the filter, so low filter, the high modulation level, so that should just bring it in quite slowly. You've always got manual control over it though. And then my pitch modulation is, I always use channel 4 of Mimetic for my pitch modulation. I'll explain why in a minute, but that is going into the quantizer, into the 1 volt per octave, and then output A is going into the 3rd of chainsaw, and output B is going into the 5th. But then we've got Clep Diaz also modulating the shift. So it kind of gives you a natural arpeggiator. It's kind of a very, especially with the LFOs going on, you just get these nice high rises in pitch and then go back down. So if we wait for this LFO to come back in, if I turn off Clep, you'll see the difference. So all we've got here is a minor C chord going on. Here comes the LFO bringing up the filter. So if I turn off Clep, and then bring Clep back in, see that's shifting the pitch, so it's still playing the same arpeggio. We're getting these shifts in octave. Sounds good. Then we've got channel 3 of Mimetic modulating a javelin. I think that's the accent. So we just get these nice pulses. So we've got Steppy here triggering the javelin, which is in VCA mode, and then we're just modulating the accent, so you just get these slight pulses through. Again, just stops it being quite as monotonous. and then just to give that a little bit more variation through the VCA, I'm sending one of the other output of Clep Diaz into the CV here. So again, I can just control this, but Clep is constantly modulating that accent level. So I mentioned I always use channel 4 for CV for pitch. There's a really good reason for that, because when you use Mimetic, if you do the load and shred, I think it's 5 octaves, it randomizes these 16 steps across 5 octaves, which is very, very good for CV modulation and most modulation sources. If you do that on pitch, it goes absolutely bananas. So what I generally do if I'm searching for something new, so there's all 4 there lit. So if I click save 1, all those 4 channels are now saved. Now if I load shred everything, it's going to shred my pitch as well. So listen to what happens. Doesn't actually sound too bad, but there's way too much in there for the pitch. So if I just reload channel 1, I think we've hit the bottom of the LFOs. Just open that up manually. So what I tend to do is, if I'm searching for some new CV modulation for most of my modulation sources, I just turn off channel 4 and then shred. So I get 3 full range random sequences. If I find something I like, then I'll save it. If I'm searching for pitch, then I'll just select channel 4 and then do load 0 shred, and that randomizes between just the 2 octaves. So you get a much more constrained arpeggio when you're in your pitch CV quantizer. So you can press that all day and you'll end up with something okay. If you just press load and shred, it usually goes too far. So like I said, I'll select the first 3, load shred, do I like that? Yes. Hit channel 4, load 0 shred, find the pitch that I want, select all 4, click save, and then I've got a full bank of 4. Then I'll move on to the next one. So I've just saved this bank 5 here because I've already saved these first 4. So that's bank 5 saved, deselect, shred till I find something, go for the pitch, load 0 shred. That's not actually affecting it much on this track because I'm only actually using 1 modulation source and there's not a lot going on with the pitch. But generally that's how I use it anyway. When I find that all 4 that I want, reselect them all, save the next bank, off we go. Just go back to bank 1 because that was my original one. The other way that you can use Mimetic, this is turning into a bit of a Mimetic tutorial that I promise now. Instead of so this is great, you've got 16 steps, but you may want to just create a 4-note riff. So let's go extreme. Let's create a pitch. So there's a 16-note pitch. If we just put that into X, so now instead of going on this N input, that will do every step, all 16. The X will just increment 4 steps on the X, but it will still, when you shred, it will still set all 16. So you can manually set them with this if you want to set everything up. But I generally just go for something random. And then if you advance Y, so as you can see, you can either manually play your riffs, or you could put a modulation into Y every 4 steps with your clock divider, and then it will automatically give you that's pretty much how I use Mimetic. Of course, you can always go the other way and go vertical. Sometimes switch that up during a track and then advanced X. I'll go full hardcore and just go random. The noise source, just a white noise source going into the right side of stereo dipole. It's just a low pass filter with the frequency modulated by a very slow LFO. And there's a bit of reverb on there as well. Take it up to zone 7, which is a recording of the last 40 something seconds in the buffer. So if I turn everything off and go to zone 7, let's see what happens to the ARP if we change the number of steps on Clep. So that's just one up and down. No steps, one step, two, Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. So it's not much of a tutorial, but I was just having a play tonight and I came up with something that I actually quite liked and I was jamming along to for quite a while, so I thought I'd record it and try and explain it. So I hope a few people have found some interesting ideas. If there's anything that I've said that's absolute bollocks, please let me know in the comments, because I'm pretty new to this still. Or if you've learned something new, again, let me know in the comments. Say I'm still watching other people's videos, learning something new every time, trying a new technique. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed it and see you in the next one. Cheers, bye.